Hey, this is Jimmy, the host of the Internet Explorers podcast, your late-night internet spirit animal in human form. And I'm inviting you to come check out my show where we venture into the wildest corners of the internet to study strange happenings, media hoaxes, and weird science. You know, the fun stuff.
2, 3, 4, Internet Explorers podcast!
Tuning wherever reality is optional.
Plug in, tune out, and get lost.
Content warning for profanity, violence, and adult themes. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 11, Emergency Salad. I have the man flu, which is basically a cold, but I'm the first to admit I'm intolerable to be around when I have so much as the sniffles, so I do want to apologize for the voice quality for this episode, but as we say in the business, the show must, something. Enjoy. Previously.
Froglings are incredibly sensitive to gardens. Even a small exposure to one can cause them to faint.
Quote, this dish poses a health risk to froglings, so don't be an asshole and order it if there is a frogling in your group. When starting, well, we can call it Earth residency, Wendell had been set on general practice. But training in intergalactic medicine shifted his interests, and he found himself taking more and more emergency department shifts when available. He enjoyed the pace of the emergency department, and although his attending physician, Dr. Spector, was tough on him, always peppering him with questions, she was never mean or intimidating. She just wanted to make sure he learned. The others who worked in the emergency department, such as Nurse Janice, Paramedic Floyd, and Department Secretary Pepper, were a great group of professionals to work with, and the space had a sense of camaraderie he hadn't found in the other parts of St. Tetanus Medical Center. Although, one thing that Pepper did that drove him nuts was she would bring garden salad to work every day as it was now in season. Now that Wendell was aware of the risks, he kept a dutiful eye out for those, eyes. Garden salad is a Plaxnanian dish, and the word garden is Plaxnanian for pus-filled eyeball. They are also highly toxic to froglings, and even a small exposure can cause fainting. On this particular day, now 4 months into his 12-month residency, our hero Wendell was winding down his day in the emergency department. It had been a good day, but a bit on the dull side, and Wendell had hoped for at least a little bit more excitement. Mostly the day had been spent treating rashes and mild coughs, neither of which he considered big emergencies. The closest thing to action he had seen all day was a frogling, the exact same as his co-resident Kermit, but much larger if you can believe it. The poor miserable fellow had come in with a headache and agitation. Wendell was now familiar with headache protocols, and he prescribed fluids, Sartaxin for the headache, and a dose of tapetinamide sodium for his agitation. He also turned off his patient's room lights and radio. Nurse Janice had gone in to give the IV fluids and medications, and she forgot to close the door, and Wendell, being the thoughtful doctor he was, slid the glass door closed so his patient could rest. Soon, Kermit sauntered in to work a night shift. He was moonlighting by picking up extra shifts from time to time, and showed to get report as Wendell was wrapping up. "Anything going on tonight?"
No, not much. I got everyone else almost discharged. The only sign-out I have is room 5. He's a fellow frogling. He came in with a headache and agitation, but no red flags. I ordered Sartaxin, tapetinamide sodium, and a fluid bolus.
"You what?" Wendell repeated.
Fluid bolus,
tapetinamide sodium?
Yeah, so?
Kermit sprinted towards the room, yelling, "No, no, 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 no!" He was 5 feet from the door when Nurse Janice let out a horrified scream, followed by the sight of her limp body flung from the darkness of the room against the glass door. Her face cracked, and she slid down the door, leaving a trail of smeared blood. A moment later, the frogling patient crashed through the glass. Instead of the quiet, sorrowful patient that had entered that day, he shook with taut muscles, breathed sharply, and 2 large, dilated eyes scanned the room while he smacked his lips. Kermit held his hands outwards in front of him and began talking in a slow, calm voice. "Easy there, fella. It's going to be okay. I just want to take a look at my nurse friend there, and we're going to get you some medicine that's going to help." Kermit, keeping his hands up and eyes on the frogling, slowly worked his way around to Nurse Janice, slumped in the pile of broken glass. She was moaning and trying to get up, cutting her palms on the shards of glass around her. "Don't move, Janice. Just stay still. I'm coming to help you," assured Kermit. "Somebody, draw up 25 mils of thorazetazone." No sooner had he said that than Wendell backed his way into the med room and thought,
how the hell are we going to give it?
As Kermit drew his way closer, though, the frogling smacked his mouth repeatedly. Kermit took another tentative step, and the frogling bit at the air between them. "Easy there, big guy. Just—" The frogling lunged at Kermit, who had kept his body low. Kermit jumped out of reach just in time. He was quick and able to dodge several swings from the frogling's long arms. However, the frogling had greater size and now drug-induced strength. One hard blow to the head could be fatal. Kermit, who was quick but with a shorter reach, was having trouble getting close enough to pin the frogling down. And even if he could pin him, he was unsure how long he could hold him. Kermit lured the patient away from Nurse Janice, and they were far enough now the medical team rushed to her aid. The problem was, in the course of doing that, Kermit also backed himself into a corner. The frogling jumped again, and this time kicked high at Kermit's chest with both feet. Kermit was unprepared and caught off guard. He was shoved backwards against the wall and would have been okay. However, there was a small shelf just high enough to catch the back of Kermit's head, and he slumped to the ground.
Shit, thought Wendell. Somebody's going to get killed.
He looked at his passed-out friend and suddenly had an idea. Wendell grabbed a different vial and a second syringe and bounded out of the medication room.
"Everyone, stay out of my way!"
he screamed. Then, turning to the frogling, he yelled,
"Hey, froglegs, come at me!"
The frogling stared at Wendell, confused for a moment, but only a moment. Wendell backed out of the emergency room, carefully planning out his route. A moment later, the frogling pounced towards Wendell, and the race was on. Wendell ran out of the emergency department, skidded to the right, and began sprinting down a long hallway to the employee break room. He screamed ahead to clear the hallway, and he looked behind to make sure the frogling was still following him and almost missed his next turn. He skidded left and down the steps, moving slowly enough to be followed, but fast enough to stay out of reach.
"Your mama smells like flies,"
he called back for good measure. Reaching the bottom of the steps, Wendell took another left and made a final sprint towards the break room. Why was it so far from the emergency department? At this point, his lungs were burning, and he realized he needed to get more regular exercise. Fortunately, the break room was mostly empty. It was, however, not devoid of food. The frogling continued bounding after its prey as Wendell rushed towards the refrigerator. He almost had the door handle when large rubbery hands grabbed him and spun him around. Wendell, wiry by nature, slipped out and spun back around. He quickly yanked the refrigerator door open, but it was slammed shut by a fist from the large frogling, denting the door in the process. Wendell ducked just in time as the second punch slid through the air above him and punched a large dent in the door. Wendell tried pulling, but now the bent and curved door refused to open. The frogling's next hit landed, this time at Wendell's lower back. The punch to his kidneys was excruciating, and he saw white with pain.
"Oi, Wendell, why are you being attacked by that guy?"
asked Pepper, sitting at a nearby table and eating garden salad.
"Give me your lunch, Pepper, hurry!"
He couldn't finish as the frogling had shoved him against the deformed refrigerator. Popping another pus-filled eyeball, she said,
"Get your own, I'm hungry." "It's going to kill me,"
coughed Wendell.
"Nah, mate. Probably put you in a coma at most. Besides, I've been looking forward to this lunch all day."
"Please," Wendell said, before his shoulder was knocked backwards. "I'll buy you more."
"Nope. Never make lunch trades with someone fighting for their life. It's a rule my gran taught me, and I've always lived by it. Served me well, too."
And popped another garden. Wendell spun around and avoided being grabbed again by the frogling. He was able to get out from between the frogling and the mangled refrigerator and sprinted towards Pepper and the garden salad.
"Oh, that's my lunch!"
Pepper tried pulling the salad towards herself, but Wendell, soaked in adrenaline at this point, grabbed the bowl of gooey eyeballs. The frogling again grabbed Wendell to spin him around for an attack. Wendell was prepared this time with the bowl of garden. As he was spun, he shoved it into the frogling's face and hoped it worked quickly. It worked quickly. The frogling, at first enraged and confused, swatted the pieces of garden away from him. His eyes, and dozens of chilled eyes, rolled. No sooner had Wendell dropped the garden than the large frogling slumped. Wendell and Pepper caught the frogling and helped him to the ground. Wendell reached for the frogling's throat and felt his pulse. His heartbeat sped up and got fainter under the skin. "Thready," he thought. Wendell drew up the adrenapin and injected it into the IV, which, impossibly, still hung to the frogling's arm. "Nurses rock," he thought. Then he thought of Nurse Janice and hoped she was okay. Wendell checked the frogling's pulse again, and it was slower and forceful. He would recover soon. Wendell took the second syringe, holding 25 cc's of thorazepazone, and delivered it. The frogling immediately relaxed. When the frogling was safely settled into the inpatient unit for observation, Wendell returned to the emergency department to check on everyone. Fortunately, as bad as it had looked, Nurse Janice had minor cuts and scratches and no major injuries. Kermit had taken a hard blow to the back of his head and was resting in an observation bed. His husband, Faw, another frogling, but with yellowish skin, a brown pork pie hat, and a white and pink polka-dot necktie, sat next to him and held his hand. Wendell walked sheepishly up to Kermit.
I am so sorry. I didn't know about tapetinamide sodium."
"Not many people do. It's rare, but real at small doses. In almost all species, it acts as a sedative. But for us, well, let's just say frogling captives are given huge doses before death match fights. It ups the entertainment value," he said with disgust.
Were you?"
"Yeah. When I was a kid, I was abducted and made to fight for entertainment. I got good at fighting and even better at patching up others, and I thought, if I ever get free, I want to be a surgeon, help heal people for real. I was 17 when a military raid of the fighting ring rescued me.
Oh, and you joined the military and the boxing club and met Fa.
That's it, Kermit said and squeezed Fa's hand.
Are you okay?
Asked Wendell. Me? Oh, yeah, I'll be okay. Just waiting on the CT results. That was quick thinking back there, little man. How did you think to do that?
Oh, I always know where Garden is, in case you piss me off one day,
Wendell said with steely eyes. Kermit stared back harshly for a moment. However, Wendell couldn't keep it up, and a crooked grin creaked up from the side of his mouth. He was suddenly blasted by hot breath and frogling spit as Kermit let out a big belly laugh. He grabbed Wendell's arm and said, "Well said. Maybe you aren't the pathetic weakling all the females call you, behind your back."
Wait, what?
Wendell asked, but Dr. Spector then entered the room. "Good news, Dr. Seabear. Your CT shows mild soft tissue swelling in the back of your head, but no bleeds. You're good to go home and rest for a few days." "Thank you, Dr. Spector." Dr. Spector saw Wendell and said, "Dr. Glick, I would like a word with you. Please join me outside." They stepped outside, and she led him to the med room and closed the door. "Wendell, what the hell were you thinking?"
I'm so very sorry. I had no idea about tapetinamide sodium and froglings. I would have never...
"Yes, that I know. It happens more often than you think, unfortunately, and I should have taught you that sooner. I keep forgetting your training." The last part stung. As hard as Wendell studied, he knew he had just scratched the surface. "What I'm upset about is you leading a dangerous patient through the hospital hallways. We're lucky nobody else was hurt."
I didn't know what else to do."
"How about, I don't know, this?" Dr. Spector pointed to a giant glass case with a tranquilizer gun and darts holding 25 cc's of thorazepatone. This giant dart gun we use for situations like this? The most useful emergency medicine tool in the galaxy that every emergency department has?
Oh, yeah, that I didn't see it. See, we aren't allowed to use tranquilizer guns on Earth. On Earth, doctors and nurses keep asking for them, but they get denied.
What? Not even pediatricians?
No, not even pediatricians. Dr. Spector shook her head at the idea of patient care without a tranquilizer gun. She shivered. Wendell's throat went dry, and he asked, Am I going to fail?
No, not at all. But this is a problem, and here are 3 things you're going to do. 1, you're getting trained and certified on medicinal dart gun use as soon as possible. 2, you're giving a lunch and learn lecture to ED staff on the proper use of dart guns in patient care. And then 3, you're going to organize a mock drill using a sham dart gun. Clear?
Absolutely.
Good. Now, you've had a long evening as well. Go home and get some rest.
Yes, thank you.
And with that, Wendell walked out into the warm summer night, went home, and tried to study, but fell asleep at his desk. A Discount Story Time Discount idea. I awoke to the scary sound of wailing and moaning in the middle of the night. Was it coming from ghosts? No. Luckily, it was just the captives in my basement. Thank you for listening. If you are enjoying this show, please share it with others. Now, am I saying to run around screaming, "Listen to Discount Storytime Podcast" at everyone you see? No, of course not. That would be absurd. There's no need to scream it. And let's see here. The Discount Storytime mailbag, nothing for this week. But if you have questions, and even like an advice column type question, if you'd like to ask one of the cast members some saucy advice, write in, and the character will answer for you, or try to answer. Let's see, the other thing, too, you've heard at the beginning of the show, I recommend the Internet Explorers podcast. It's a lot of fun, a lot of stuff out there on the internet that Jimmy brings up, and I don't know, I like it. He always leaves me with something to think about. I also want to recommend, and I'm almost done binge listening to it, is Wooden Overcoats. If you have not heard of that podcast and you like British comedy, it's really good. I started listening and then I just got completely sucked in. So there's another one for you to listen to. And until next time, be sure to play nice with others, be super duper kind to yourself, and as always, remember to laugh. Bye.